The sharp crack of breaking glass pierced the night, jolting Wade Garrison from his restless sleep. He was on his feet before his mind fully registered the sound, moving toward his 6-year-old daughter Lily's bedroom with the instinctive speed of a father who had learned to function on high alert. Finding her still fast asleep, her small body curled around her favorite stuffed rabbit, Wade exhaled with relief. The sound hadn't come from inside their modest rental home. Wade peered out his bedroom window into the darkness of Maple Lane, the suburban street where he and Lily had started rebuilding their lives after his divorce last year. 3 houses down, a flashlight beam danced erratically across the facade of the Victorian-style home that had stood empty for months. Until yesterday, when a moving truck had appeared. "Someone's having a worse night than me," Wade muttered, pulling on jeans and a sweatshirt. After checking on Lily once more, he grabbed his toolbox from the hall closet and quietly left the house. The late October wind bit through his clothing as he crossed the street. As he drew closer, he could see that one of the ground floor windows had been shattered, likely by the fallen branch from the massive oak tree in the front yard. Rain was beginning to fall, spattering through the broken glass. Wade hesitated at the front gate. He didn't want to scare whoever had moved in, approaching their house at nearly midnight. But leaving a broken window in this weather would cause serious damage by morning. He was debating what to do when the porch light suddenly flicked on and the front door opened. A woman stood in the doorway, her silhouette framed by the warm light behind her. "Hello," her voice carried across the yard, tentative but firm. "Hi there, sorry to bother you," Wade called, staying where he was. "I live down the street. I heard glass breaking and wanted to make sure everything was okay. Looks like you've got a broken window." The woman stepped onto the porch, allowing Wade to see her more clearly. She was tall and slender with dark hair pulled back in a messy bun, dressed in what looked like expensive silk pajamas. Even in the dim light, something about her took his breath away. "That branch came down about 20 minutes ago," she said. "I've been trying to figure out what to do. I don't exactly have an emergency window repair service on speed dial." Wade lifted his toolbox. "I could board it up for you just until morning. Keep the rain and cold out." She hesitated, studying him. "You're handy with repairs." "I'm a contractor," Wade said. "Or I was. I do odd jobs now, mostly." He didn't add that his construction company had folded after the divorce, that he was barely making ends meet with handyman work while trying to rebuild his career from scratch. "I'm Violet Owens," she said finally. "And I would appreciate the help, if you're sure it's not too much trouble." "Wade Garrison, and it's no trouble at all." Violet led him inside, and Wade tried not to gawk at the interior of the home. Even with moving boxes stacked everywhere, the place exuded wealth: hardwood floors, crystal chandeliers, custom millwork. The broken window was in what appeared to be a home office, where rain was already soaking into an expensive-looking oriental rug. "I have plywood in my truck from a job today," Wade said, assessing the damage. "This is a temporary fix, but I can come back tomorrow and measure for proper replacement glass." Violet nodded, watching him with curious intensity. "I appreciate this, especially at this hour. Most people wouldn't bother," Wade shrugged. "Neighborhoods work better when people look out for each other." While he returned to his truck for supplies, Violet cleared the glass and mopped up the water. They worked together in surprisingly comfortable silence. Wade tried to stay focused on the task, but found himself acutely aware of her presence, the faint scent of her perfume, the graceful way she moved around the room. "Do you have children?" Violet asked suddenly as Wade secured the last corner of the plywood. The question caught him off guard. "Yes, a daughter, Lily. She's 6. "I thought so," Violet said with a small smile. "You have that look." "What look is that?" "The protective dad look. You checked your watch 3 times while working and you keep your phone where you can see it." Wade laughed. "Guilty as charged." "Lily's asleep at home. I have a monitor app, but you're still worried," Violet finished for him. "That's sweet." Wade felt his cheeks warm. "What about you? Any kids?" A shadow crossed Violet's face. "No, never found the right timing or the right person, I suppose." When Wade finished, the window was securely covered. No rain or cold air would get through his handiwork. He packed up his tools, oddly reluctant to leave. "What do I owe you?" Violet asked, reaching for her purse on a nearby box. Nothing, Wade said quickly. Just being neighborly. At least let me pay for the materials. Wade shook his head. The plywood was leftover. Seriously, it's fine. Violet studied him for a moment, then nodded. Then perhaps I can repay you with coffee sometime, as a proper welcome to the neighborhood since I'm the newcomer. Something fluttered in Wade's chest, an unfamiliar sensation he hadn't felt in years. I'd like that. As he walked back home in the light rain, Wade couldn't help smiling to himself. For the first time in a long while, he felt something other than exhaustion and worry. He felt hopeful. The next morning, Wade woke to find Lily already up and coloring at the kitchen table, her wavy brown hair so like her mother's falling across her face as she concentrated. "Morning, sunshine," he said, dropping a kiss on top of her head. "Daddy, can we have pancakes?" Lily asked without looking up from her artwork. "Let me guess, shaped like bunnies." Lily nodded enthusiastically. As Wade mixed batter and heated the griddle, his thoughts drifted to Violet. There had been something compelling about her, an intelligence in her eyes, a warmth beneath her composed exterior. He wondered what had brought someone who was clearly wealthy to their modest neighborhood. "Daddy, you're burning it." Lily's voice broke into his thoughts. Wade quickly flipped the pancake, which was indeed slightly darker than ideal. "Just giving it a tan, Lil." After breakfast and getting Lily dressed, Wade decided to walk her to school rather than drive. It was only 5 blocks away, and the morning was crisp and beautiful after the night's rain. As they passed Violet's house, Wade noticed her on the front porch, talking on her phone while typing on a laptop. She looked up as they approached and waved, ending her call. She was dressed in a tailored pantsuit that probably cost more than Wade's monthly rent. "Good morning," she called out. Wade waved back. "Morning, how's the window holding up? Perfectly dry inside, thanks to you." Violet's gaze shifted to Lily, who was half hiding behind Wade's leg. "And who might this be?" "This is Lily," Wade said, gently encouraging his daughter forward. "Lily, this is Miss Owens. She just moved into the neighborhood." "Hello," Lily said shyly. Violet's whole demeanor softened as she addressed the girl. "Hello, Lily, I like your backpack. Rabbits are my favorite animal too." Lily's eyes widened. "Really, really. I had a pet rabbit when I was about your age." "His name was Carrots." Lily giggled. "That's a funny name." "I wasn't very creative," Violet admitted with a laugh. She glanced at her watch. "Are you headed to school?" Wade nodded. "First grade at Maple Elementary." "Well, don't let me keep you," Violet said. "But I meant what I said about that coffee, Wade." "How about tomorrow morning?" Wade suggested. "After school drop-off, perfect. There's a cafe on Elm Street I've been meaning to try." As they continued their walk to school, Lily looked up at Wade with curious eyes. "Daddy, is that lady your friend?" "She's a neighbor," Wade explained. "And maybe she'll become a friend." "She's pretty," Lily observed. Wade smiled. "Yes, she is." After dropping Lily off, Wade spent the day installing kitchen cabinets for a client across town. The work was steady, but not enough to ease his financial concerns. The child support he received from his ex-wife helped, but Lisa had moved to California with her new husband, leaving Wade as Lily's primary caregiver. He wouldn't have it any other way, but being a single dad while trying to rebuild his business was challenging. When he picked Lily up from her after-school program, she thrust a drawing at him. "Look what I made, Daddy." Wade examined the crayon creation, 3 stick figures standing beside what appeared to be a house. "Is this us? It's you and me and Miss Owens," Lily explained matter-of-factly. "I drew her living in our house because her house has a broken window." Wade felt a flush creep up his neck. "That's thoughtful, but Miss Owens has her own home. I'm going to fix her window properly this weekend." "Can I help?" Lily asked eagerly. "We'll see, sweetheart." That evening, after Lily was in bed, Wade measured the dimensions of the plywood he'd need to properly replace Violet's window. As he worked, his phone pinged with a text message from an unknown number. "Hi, Wade. It's Violet from down the street. Hope it's okay that I got your number from the neighborhood directory. Just wanted to confirm coffee tomorrow at Brood Awakening, 8:30, Wade texted back. "Looking forward to it." The next morning, after dropping Lily at school, Wade arrived at the cafe 5 minutes early, only to find Violet already there, seated at a corner table with 2 steaming mugs. I took the liberty of ordering for us, she said as he approached. The barrister recommended their house blend. I hope that's okay. Perfect, Wade said, sliding into the seat across from her. In the daylight, he could fully appreciate how striking she was: deep brown eyes, high cheekbones, and an elegant neck enhanced by a simple gold pendant. So, Violet said after they'd exchanged pleasantries, tell me about yourself, Wade Garrison, other than being a knight in shining armor for distressed homeowners with broken windows. Wade laughed, wrapping his hands around the warm mug. Not much to tell, born and raised in this town. Started a contracting business after trade school. Got married, had Lily, got divorced. The business took a hit during all that, so I'm rebuilding. Your turn. Violet took a sip of her coffee. I grew up in Boston. Went to business school, then built a tech company that specialized in healthcare software. I sold it last year for, she hesitated, a substantial sum. Decided I needed a change of pace. So you came to Oakwood, not exactly a tech hub. That's precisely why, Violet said, her expression softening. I wanted somewhere quiet, somewhere I could figure out what comes next. My parents retired to Florida, I have no siblings, and after working 80-hour weeks for a decade, I don't have many close friends left. She looked almost embarrassed by the admission. Must be nice, though, Wade said. Financial freedom. It solves some problems and creates others, Violet replied. Everyone wants something from you when they know you have money. It gets lonely. The vulnerability in her voice struck Wade. Despite their obvious differences in circumstances, he recognized the isolation she described. Since his divorce, he'd felt it too, the struggle to connect authentically with others while juggling responsibilities. Why that house? He asked. It's beautiful, but it needs a lot of work. Violet's eyes lit up. That's part of the appeal. I want a project, something tangible I can shape with my hands instead of just code and contracts. My grandfather was a carpenter, and some of my happiest childhood memories are of working alongside him in his workshop. So you're planning to restore it yourself? As much as I can, Violet said, though I suspect I'll need professional help for some things. She gave him a meaningful look. Know any good contractors? Wade couldn't help but smile. I might know someone. Their coffee stretched into a second cup, then a shared pastry. Conversation flowed easily between them, jumping from home renovation to favorite books to Lily's obsession with rabbits. Wade found himself laughing more than he had in months. I should get going, Violet said eventually, checking her watch. I have a video call with my financial advisor in 15 minutes, and I have a bathroom tile installation waiting for me, Wade said, reluctantly standing. As they walked out together, Violet turned to him. I meant to ask, could I hire you to replace that window properly, and maybe look at a few other projects around the house? Wade hesitated. The professional opportunity was welcome, but something else gave him pause. I'd be happy to help with the window, but I'm not sure about taking you on as a client. Violet raised an eyebrow. Why not? Because I'd rather take you to dinner, Wade said, surprised by his own boldness. As a friend, or maybe more than a friend. And mixing business with personal gets complicated. A slow smile spread across Violet's face. That's very ethical of you. Is that a yes to dinner? It's a yes to dinner, Violet confirmed. And as for the window, consider it a friend helping a friend. I'll supply the materials, you supply the expertise. Deal, Wade said, feeling lighter than he had in years. Over the next few weeks, a rhythm developed. Wade would help Violet with small repairs around her house on weekends, often bringing Lily along. The little girl quickly became attached to Violet, who always made time for her, whether helping with homework or teaching her how to plant bulbs in the garden for spring flowers. Their first dinner date was at a modest Italian restaurant in town. Wade had worried about the disparity in their financial situations, but Violet put him at ease, sharing stories about growing up in a middle-class family before her business success. My parents were teachers, she told him over pasta. They taught me that wealth is about more than money. It's about relationships, purpose, community. They sound wise, Wade said. They are. They're also extremely suspicious of anyone who shows interest in me since the company sold. Violet twirled pasta on her fork. They've seen too many people try to get close to me for the wrong reasons. Wade set down his fork. Violet, I had no idea about your financial situation when I offered to help that night. I just saw a neighbor with a problem I could fix. I know, she said softly. That's what makes you different. Their relationship progressed naturally from there. Dinners led to weekend outings with Lily, movie nights after she was asleep, and long conversations on Violet's porch swing. Wade was careful not to rush things, mindful of how his daughter might be affected, but he needn't have worried. Lily bloomed in Violet's presence, delighting in the attention of another adult who seemed genuinely interested in her world. For her part, Violet never tried to replace Lily's mother, instead creating her own special relationship with the girl. One Saturday morning in December, about 6 weeks after they'd met, Wade and Lily arrived at Violet's house to help hang Christmas lights. They found her in the kitchen surrounded by bowls and ingredients, flour dusting her cheeks. "Cookie emergency," she explained with a laugh. "I promised to bring 5 dozen to the elementary school's holiday fair, and I may have underestimated the time involved." "We can help," Lily exclaimed, already washing her hands at the sink. The three of them spent the morning baking, the kitchen filling with the scent of vanilla and chocolate as Christmas music played softly. Wade found himself watching Violet and Lily together, his daughter standing on a stool, carefully decorating cookies while Violet guided her hand with gentle patience. Something shifted in his heart that morning. This wasn't just attraction or enjoyment of Violet's company. This was deeper a recognition of how seamlessly she fit into their lives, how much brighter everything seemed with her in it. Later, after Lily had gone outside to play in the light snow that had begun to fall, Violet turned to Wade, her expression serious. "There's something I need to tell you," she said. Wade's heart sank. In his experience, conversations that started this way rarely ended well. "Okay, I've been offered a position on the board of a major hospital system. It would mean occasional travel to their headquarters in Chicago." "That sounds like an amazing opportunity," Wade said carefully, trying to mask his disappointment at the thought of her leaving. "I'm not moving," Violet clarified quickly, reading his expression. "I'd commute for quarterly meetings, but before I accept, I wanted to talk to you because—" She took a deep breath. "Because whatever this is between us matters to me, a lot." Relief flooded through Wade. "It matters to me too." "I've spent my whole adult life putting work first," Violet continued. "I don't want to make that mistake again. Not when I've found someone that makes me happier than any professional accomplishment ever did." Wade stepped closer, brushing flour from her cheek. "Take the position. We'll make it work." "You're sure?" "I'm sure about you," he said simply. "The rest is details." Their first kiss tasted like sugar cookies and promise. As winter deepened, so did their relationship. Wade began bringing Lily to Violet's house more frequently. The Victorians' renovation had stalled in favor of cozy evenings by the fireplace, weekend pancake breakfasts, and impromptu dance parties in the spacious living room. Violet's work with the hospital board began in January, requiring her to travel to Chicago for 3 days each month. During her first trip, she called every night, speaking to both Wade and Lily before bedtime. "The house feels empty without you two," she admitted on the 3rd night. "I keep expecting to hear Lily's laughter echoing down the hallway." "We miss you too," Wade said. "Lily asked this morning if we could move the Bunny family into your house so they wouldn't be lonely." Violet laughed, the sound warming him even through the phone. "Tell her the Bunnies are always welcome." February brought Valentine's Day, which Wade and Lily approached with serious planning. They transformed Violet's dining room into a candlelit restaurant, with Lily acting as both chef, with Wade's assistance, and waitress, proudly serving heart-shaped sandwiches and chocolate-dipped strawberries. "This is the best Valentine's Day I've ever had," Violet declared, her eyes suspiciously bright as she accepted Lily's handmade card featuring 3 stick figures, the same 3 from months earlier, but now surrounded by hearts. Wade watched them together, marveling at how quickly and completely Violet had become essential to their lives. He'd been cautious after his divorce, protective of both his and Lily's hearts. But Violet had slipped past his defenses with her genuine warmth. her respect for his role as a father, and her understanding of the challenges he faced. When Lily fell asleep on the couch after their celebration, Wade carried her to the guest room that had gradually accumulated her belongings: pajamas, stuffed animals, favorite books. "She looks so peaceful," Violet whispered, tucking the blanket around Lily's small form. In the hallway, Wade took Violet's hands in his. "I have something for you, not as impressive as this feast, but—" He pulled a small box from his pocket. Inside was a silver pendant in the shape of a window frame with a small moonstone at its center. "It's beautiful," Violet breathed as he fastened it around her neck. "To remember how we met," Wade explained. "Breaking and entering at midnight. Best break-in of my life," Violet said with a smile, rising on her toes to kiss him. Later that night, after they'd made love for the first time, a tender, passionate culmination of months of growing feeling, Violet curled against Wade's side, her head on his chest. "Wade," she said softly, "I'm falling in love with you." He tightened his arms around her. "I think I started falling the night you stood on your porch in silk pajamas, trying to figure out what to do about a broken window." "We make an unlikely pair," Violet mused. "The tech millionaire and the struggling contractor. Does that worry you?" Wade asked, voicing a concern that had lingered despite their growing closeness. Violet propped herself up on one elbow to look at him. "Money can buy a lot of things, but not what matters most. It can't buy the way you look at Lily when she's not watching like she's the most precious thing in the universe. It can't buy the integrity you show in every aspect of your life. It can't buy the feeling I get when you walk into a room." She touched his face gently. "Some things are beyond price." March brought heavy rains and flooding to parts of their town. Wade's handyman business suddenly boomed with emergency repairs, keeping him busier than he'd been in months. Violet stepped in without hesitation, picking Lily up from school when Wade was caught at jobs, helping with homework, and keeping dinner warm. One evening, after a particularly long day, Wade arrived at Violet's house to find her and Lily building an elaborate fort in the living room, complete with fairy lights and pillows. "Daddy," Lily called, poking her head out from between blankets. "We made a castle." "You have to know the password to enter," Wade pretended to think hard. "Is it, bunnies rule the world?" "No," Lily giggled. "Is it, pizza for dinner?" "No, but I am hungry," Lily admitted. "The password," Violet Stage whispered to him, "is family forever." Something about those words, spoken in Violet's warm voice while his daughter nodded solemnly, hit Wade with unexpected force. This was what he wanted, not just for now, but for always. This woman, this child, this life they were building together. "Family forever," he repeated, his voice rough with emotion. They ate pizza in the fort that night, telling stories and making shadow puppets on the blanket walls. When Lily finally fell asleep, Wade and Violet carefully extracted themselves, leaving her surrounded by pillows in her magical castle. On the couch, Violet curled against Wade's side, her fingers interlaced with his. "I've been thinking," she said quietly. "Dangerous pastime," Wade teased, pressing a kiss to her hair. "Very funny. I've been thinking about the future, about us." Wade felt his heart rate pick up. "What about us?" "My lease on the office space I've been using expires next month. I could renew it, or—" Violet took a deep breath. "Or I could convert part of this house into a home office, which would make sense if you and Lily were here more often. Like all the time." Wade turned to face her fully. "Violet Owens, are you asking us to move in with you?" "I am," she said, nervous but determined. "I love you, Wade. I love Lily. This house has never felt like home until you two started filling it with laughter and cookie crumbs and bedtime stories." Wade cupped her face in his hands. "You know this is a package deal, right? Lily and me, we come together." "I wouldn't have it any other way," Violet said fiercely. "That little girl in there, I've fallen in love with her too, her kindness, her imagination, her bunny obsession, all of it." Wade felt his throat tighten with emotion. After his divorce, he'd resigned himself to handling fatherhood alone, never expecting to find someone who would embrace not only him but his daughter with such wholehearted devotion. "I need you to be sure," he said, "because Lily's already attached to you, if this doesn't work." "It will work," Violet said with quiet confidence. "Not because it's perfect or easy, but because we'll make it work, together." Wade kissed her then, pouring everything he couldn't yet articulate into the connection between them. When they parted, breathless, he rested his forehead against hers. "Yes," he said simply. "Yes to moving in. Yes to building a life together." April brought moving day, a chaotic symphony of boxes, furniture, and excited chatter as Wade and Lily's belongings found new homes throughout Violet's Victorian. The master bedroom now held Wade's clothes alongside Violet's, while the room next door, previously destined to be a home gym, transformed into Lily's dream space, complete with a window seat for reading and a ceiling painted with stars that glowed in the dark. As May flowers bloomed, so did their new family routine. Mornings featured Violet joining the school run before heading to her home office, while Wade's business slowly but steadily grew, his reputation for quality work spreading through town. Evenings were for family dinners, homework help, and bedtime stories, followed by quiet time for Wade and Violet on the porch swing that had witnessed their early conversations. It was on that swing, under a canopy of stars one warm June evening, that Wade finally asked the question that had been forming in his heart for months. "Remember when we met?" he began, his arm around Violet's shoulders. She laughed softly. "How could I forget?" Broken window, midnight repair, dashing handyman to the rescue. "I was thinking about what you said that night about not having found the right timing or the right person." Wade shifted to face her, taking both her hands in his. "I'm hoping maybe you've found both now." Violet's eyes widened as Wade slid from the swing to one knee before her. "This past year has taught me that sometimes the most unexpected beginnings lead to the most beautiful journeys," he said, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "Violet Owens, you walked into our lives through a broken window and made everything whole again. Will you marry me?" He pulled a small box from his pocket, opening it to reveal a ring not flashy or ostentatious, but a thoughtfully chosen sapphire surrounded by smaller diamonds. Tears spilled down Violet's cheeks as she nodded, words momentarily beyond her. "Yes," she finally managed. "Yes, 1,000 times yes." Wade slipped the ring onto her finger, then gathered her into his arms, their kiss a seal on promises spoken and unspoken. "Wait," Violet said suddenly, pulling back. "What about Lily? Have you talked to her about this?" Wade smiled. "Who do you think helped me pick out the ring?" As if on cue, the front door creaked open and Lily appeared in her pajamas, clearly having been listening from inside. "Did she say yes?" She stage whispered. "She said yes," Wade confirmed, laughing as Lily launched herself at them both. "Does this mean you'll be my stepmom?" Lily asked Violet, her small hands framing Violet's tear-streaked face. "If that's okay with you," Violet said gently. Lily nodded solemnly. "Very okay. I asked Santa for a mom last Christmas, but he was late." Wade and Violet exchanged a glance, love and shared amusement passing between them. "Sometimes the best gifts take time," Violet told Lily, pulling her into a tight embrace. Later, after Lily had been tucked back into bed with promises of wedding planning discussions in the morning, Wade and Violet stood in the doorway of what had become their home, looking out at the quiet street where chance and kindness had first brought them together. "1 year ago, I was sitting in a corporate boardroom, surrounded by success but completely alone," Violet said reflectively. "I never imagined that breaking a window would somehow fix everything else in my life." Wade wrapped his arms around her from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. "And I never thought that answering a midnight emergency would lead me to the love of my life." Violet turned in his arms, her eyes shining with happiness and unshed tears. Family forever," Wade affirmed, sealing the promise with a kiss that felt like coming home.